A clip of Ben Shapiro saying no one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea.
Well, okay. Aside from Ben Shapiro being an ass, he's also an idiot because Ben Shapiro can Google what the retirement age will be when he is in his 60s, and it will be 67. The Social Security retire. Now, of course, you can do early retirement if you want, but the official retirement age goes up, I think, in the next year or two in this country. Currently, the full benefit age is 66 years old in 2 months. And that's for people born in 1955. It will rise to 67 for those born in 1960 or later. So, yeah, let's watch this. Let's watch this. This is the intellectual pillar of the Republican Party, and he does not know when his own retirement age is. Now, of course, you can retire whenever you want, but he's talking about Social Security.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy. Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden should not be running for president. Hey, Joe Biden is 81 years old. The retirement age in the United States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden.
Pause it. Now, first off, this guy should be retired because he doesn't know what he's talking about. One, we don't have mandatory retirement for the president. See, maybe that's something that's not a bad idea. Maybe we should have mandatory retirement age also for the Supreme Court. That might not be a bad idea. There are certain institutions that have mandatory retirements. But this ding-dong does not know the basic. What was the first line of this?
It should be raised.
No. We have not raised the retirement age in so many years, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't even realize the retirement age. Right now, if you were born in 1955, you are age, what is it, 70? What is it? Where are we now? You are age 70 next year? 1955? Yeah, it would be 45 plus another 25, right? You're 70. If you were born in 1955 to 1960, the retirement age is 66 years and 2 months. And if you are my age, or even like 5 or 6 years older, like if you're 62 now, your retirement age is at 67. So he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Now, we should also say, he's going to go on to say this, I imagine, that people have, if you look at the actuarial charts, we have the age that people die now, on average, is higher than it was in 1936 when we implemented Social Security. However, those age gains have all happened. Almost 90% of those age gains has happened to people in the top 50 percentile of wage earners in this country. In other words, if your job is to sit on your ass and talk into a microphone like mine, your age expectancy is something like 7 or 8 years longer. Depends on whether you are male or female. Is like something like 7 or 8 years longer than someone who is out actually like having to work construction or maybe doing deliveries or, you know, something that involves a lot more physical activity. That's just the reality of it. Now, he doesn't give a crap about any of that. He's just lying. He's just trying to shoehorn both the two agendas that Republicans have, at birth, which is defeat the Democratic president and also cut Social Security so that people can't have a dignified retirement. When Social Security was implemented, it kept 2/3 of our elderly out of poverty. It still keeps something like half of our elderly out of poverty. Maybe more. But I think that we have something like 1/3 of our elderly exclusively relies on Social Security. And the rest, a significant portion are kept out of poverty. And I should add that when your parents are not living in poverty, you have the ability to build your own wealth. Because you're not feeling like, oh, I feel bad that my parents are eating cat food, so I'm going to pay for them. Play this.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States.
That's not
real. It's totally
real.
crazy.
That's not real.
Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden should not be running for president. Hey, Joe Biden is 81 years old.
That's also not
the
what
retirement age in the United
means.
States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden has technically been eligible for Social Security and Medicare for 16 years, and he wants to continue in office until he is 86, which is 19 years past when he would be eligible for retirement. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Everybody that I know who is elderly, who has retired, is dead within 5 years. And if you talk to people who are elderly and they lose their purpose in life by losing their job and they stop working.
Well, pause it. Wait a second. So what's the point? Joe Biden should retire or Joe Biden shouldn't retire? I can't figure out what he's trying to say here. Joe Biden's taking your advice, apparently. You got to work until he dies.
Like, I think probably the stuff. Yeah,
Elderly and they lose their purpose in life by losing their job and they stop working. Things go to hell in a handbasket real quick. But put all of that aside, just on a fiscal level and on a logical level. When Franklin Delano Roosevelt established 65 as the retirement
here we
age,
go.
the average life expectancy in the United States was 63 years old. Today, the average life expectancy in the United States is close to 80. It's totally insane that you believe that you should be able to work from the time that you are essentially 20 to the time that you are 65, which is a 45-year period, pay in, and then you will receive Social Security benefits sufficient to support you and your family, you and your wife or whatever, for like another 20 years.
Oh, pause it. Incidentally, I got a news flash for Ben Shapiro. Women work too. And so maybe, we're earning money for you and your wife. Unbelievable.
Your family.
Go ahead.
You and your wife or whatever, for like another 20 years. That's crazy talk. That is not fiscally sustainable. The notion that if you have to raise the retirement age to 67 or 68, that everyone is going to fall apart. My parents are that age. My parents are not retired. And they shouldn't retire. It would be very bad for them to retire. By the way, it's disrespectful to people who are 67, 68, 69 years old to suggest that they are in the same shape as people who are 65 were in 1940. It's not true at all. Have you met a 65-year-old lately?
Okay, all right, stop it. Pull up, will you just like Google in fact, 2 years ago, this was before, incidentally, I think around the time where men's life expectancy actually started to drop in this country. But even before that, you can find report after report after report of the gap between the top 1%. Men in the top 1% of the income distribution have an expected age of death of 87.3, 14.6 years higher than those in the bottom 1%. Pull up, find another one. The fifth quintile, the average life expectancy is 75 years. This is, he's absurd.
It's disrespectful to not work the elderly into the 70s. They could be like, detailing a car or something for a local car dealership.
All the people that Ben Shapiro knows who retired at age 65 and died in 5 years.
And like the whole thing about like, if once you stop doing your job, you're going to die. Like, I think a lot more could be done in this country to enrich the post-retirement life of seniors.
100%. That is a problem with society. The idea that we have no purpose but for to work in this society is absurd. All right, let's finish us off.
40. It's not true at all. Have you met a 65-year-old lately? 65-year-olds are not old in the United States. They're not.
Wait, pause it. I'm completely confused now. Joe Biden is old, but he should not retire. In fact, I've known people who retired at age 65 and they die at age 70. Well, that's what he wants in terms of fiscal responsibility, right? His whole problem was that people are going to live too long after they retire. Yeah. But now he's saying they're dying 5 years after they retire. Like, within this in one little video, he has contradicted himself in almost every single way, in addition to the fundamental premise of what started the video being factually incorrect. Go ahead.
In 1940. It's not true at all. Have you met a 65-year-old lately? 65-year-olds are not old in the United States. They're not. 68-year-olds are not old in the United States. Again, Joe Biden thinks he's not old, and that dude is running for president again, and that dude actually is old, and he's 81. I fail to see how a country in which our entire leadership class is 80 plus is telling you that we should have a retirement age of 65. It makes no sense at all.
Well, because they're all sitting there, senators. They've all got the best health care. Yeah. They've all got they've got one of the cushiest jobs you could possibly have, and the vast majority of Americans work a job that's much harder. God forbid you have any vibrancy or life or youth in you when you do not have to show up and work for some a-hole every day. You are not forced into retirement by Social Security. If you delay your Social Security payments, I think you have at least now a 5-year period of time in which you can delay before you have to start taking Social Security. And what it does is it actually accrues, it increases in value. I mean, it's just the laziness associated with the supposed, what was it, the philosopher king intellectual?
The cool kid's philosopher.
Oh my God. It's unbelievable. The level of stupidity that exists in the most successful of conservative minds in this country is fascinating.
It's wild to be look, this is a great job to be doing this and telling people that say work, I don't know, truck drivers or, any sort of difficult, demanding job, actually keep doing that. I know you're 65, you're 67. Keep doing that until you're probably 77, until you're like maimed with some sort of disease where you aren't any help to a capitalist.
Keep pushing cutting Social Security. That's what I would like to say.